Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure diorama review. Today, we're going to be looking at the Extreme Sets Wrestling Vintage Backstage Pop-Up Diorama. I've got the modern backstage pop-up, and I find it very useful for a wide variety of action figure scenarios. This one should be a little bit more old school, and I look very forward to putting it together. Big shout out to my boy RB. He runs an eBay store called RebTech. He sent this item to review. He sells a lot of Extreme Sets at his eBay store. There will be a link in the description below. You might want to check it out. Could be a great source for Extreme Sets. So let's check out the packaging. As you can see, you have sort of an example of how the set's going to look on the inside. It does say Vintage Backstage Pop-Up. You can see an example of how it's going to look inside the packaging. It's blank at the top. The side here does have a barcode. It says Vintage Backstage Pop-Up Diorama, 1/12 scale. Backside here, Extreme Sets, and there's that barcode again. So with no further ado, let's open it up. Alright, now that I got this thing out of the package, here it is laid out on the table. Looks like we've got about 5 wall pieces, some floor pieces, some lockers, electrical boxes, some crates, and some benches. In addition to that, we've got this instruction book here. It's going to have an assembly list, all the different contents, followed by how to put it together. So, let's get started. So first off, let's assemble the crates. There are 3 of them. They're flattened down right now. Take them, expand them out, fold against all the different creases, and do it very hard and firm. Like I said, all the different creases. Fold them inside. Do that on both sides, and then it will all sort of fold in together. Now that I've put them together, they look like this. I believe the 2 are supposed to be standing up tall, and the 1 flat. These are labeled as both a case and a crate on the instructions. Now let's put together the locker and bench. Take the locker piece here. It's completely flat. Extend it open. You can see the locker already starting to pop open. Flatten it as best you can. Do that with all the different tabs. Once that's done, it'll all sort of come together. Once assembled, the lockers will look like this. Now to build the benches that go next to the locker. Once again, flat piece. Gotta kind of pop it open here. Once that, fold it against itself. Fold all the different tabs in. Once that's done, it'll just be sort of a wooden bench to sit next to the lockers. And here are 4 different benches assembled. They're very basic. And you attach the bench to the locker like so. They just sort of sit next to each other. It does look pretty decent. Then we have these couple of electrical boxes. They're going to be velcroed to the wall later. Pretty simple instructions. Just like before. Fold them against everything. Fold all the tabs in. And they're going to come together. And now you've got these 3-dimensional electrical boxes. Now to assemble the wall pieces. There are 5 of them. Only 4 will fit on this table. So we're going to start off by assembling 4. I will show all 5 before this is said and done. In order to build the wall pieces, you're going to use these tabs and insert them into these little holes. You'll have to fold the cardboard down, exposing these holes, and then get the tabs inside there. Here are 4 of the wall pieces attached. Just a reminder, it's intended to be done with 5. This thing is already massive as is. I left out the wall piece with the overhead door. The picture I used from Extreme Sets showed that one in the very center there. Now inside the floor pieces, it comes with 3 of them. I'll probably only need 2 since I kept one of the wall pieces off. So here's the vintage backstage diorama with the walls up and the floor. Yes, I only needed 2 pieces of the floor. If I had the 3rd wall segment, I would need all 3. It's looking pretty good. This is a wrestling backstage area, but this could easily be used for sort of a warehouse or just a random building. I really like how sort of generic it looks. I can put this to a ton of different uses in my action figure world. Now let's go ahead and add in some of the accessories. Here are the two electrical panels attached. They're velcroed to the wall. And here are a few of the crates scattered around. And here are the lockers attached. Kind of gives you a separate locker room in the back left. Now of course, this thing's intended to have 5 wall pieces, so it would be a little bit more spacious. Here's an aerial view of the locker room type area. And here's the set with all 5 walls. Had to do it on the floor. 60 inches is quite a bit of space to take up, but it gives you a huge play area. Here's an example of the modern backstage wrestling diorama. This one is fantastic, but I must admit, I'm preferring the vintage one at this point. So there you have it. Here's a thing fully assembled. I think it looks great as is, and it's even intended to be wider than this. Now that we have this thing fully assembled, let's check out the measurements and then we'll check out the action features. So as far as how wide this thing is, about 38 inches wide. As far as how deep it is, about 18.5 inches deep. And as far as how tall it is, about 15 inches tall. And if you were to add the 5th wall panel as intended, that wall panel is 20 inches wide. It's going to make this thing just short of 60 inches wide. Now let's look at the action features. There are 3 different actual functioning doors on this thing. Cardboard door comes out. I don't really like creasing these things as it permanently changes the cardboard. There's a second regular door like so, and I kind of messed it up when assembling this. It's not flush like the other one. And there's a 3rd functioning door. This is a double-sided door, both sides open and shut. Of course, you also have the locker room area. I like that it sort of makes its own corner of this playset, a locker room. And on the lockers, there are 4 on either side. 2 open on one side, and the other side none of them do. It's a pretty cool feature, just like the doors. Take the locker, you can actually open it up, and you can potentially store stuff inside of there. You've also got the 2 electrical boxes. They're removable, velcro to the back of the playset. They stay on there pretty nicely. There are 2 electrical boxes. This one's a little bit larger. Can also get removed. Now that this thing is fully assembled, let's get some action figures in there. We'll start off with some wrestling figures, and then we'll check it out with some other action figure lines. Here's our wrestling figure, just chilling in the locker room. He's got a towel around his neck, like he just finished working out. You could also have a female wrestling figure with a towel around her neck. Here are a bunch of Jack-specific wrestling figures. These guys look like they could be dressed to go work out, especially this guy in the middle, superhero in training. You can have various wrestlers getting ready for their match in the locker room. Remember, this is the backstage arena. You could have a wrestling interview going on backstage. Here are a couple of brothers with a bunch of hostility, getting ready to fight each other in the ring. And afterwards, they come back to the locker room bloodied up, but friends again. Here's Batman and Robin taking down a bunch of thugs in a warehouse type setting. This diorama is generic enough. I thought it would work good for the factory at the end of the first Terminator film, where the T-800 is chasing Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor. I do love the fact that when you take the lockers out, it's more or less just a generic building. I definitely get a factory or warehouse type vibe off it. It can be the backstage arena. Hell, it could be a corridor down Arkham Asylum. I love how generic it is. It's absolutely perfect for my uses. Now let's check this diorama out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how it fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can use with it. One thing I love about this thing, it is not picky. It'll work with your smaller 6-inch figures and your larger 7-inch figures. Here it is, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, some DST Diamond Select toys, and some McFarlane toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures, some NECA figures, and some Mattel wrestling figures. And here it is with some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures, some Mezco 1/12 collective figures, and some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And finally, here it is with some Mafex figures, some Hasbro Marvel Legends, and some SH Figure Arts action figures. Overall, this diorama is fantastic. When I was first getting this thing, I looked at a couple pictures and I thought, that'll be pretty cool. It'll work for some nice all-purpose action figure photography. But it is so much better than I thought. This thing can work for an endless amount of scenarios. Someone gets kidnapped, take them here. Have some thugs at a warehouse, put them here. Need to have a factory with some stuff going on, do it here. Need it to be a hallway in a hospital, it'll even work for that. This thing is fantastic. It doesn't have any wrestling logos or anything like that, so it can be used for all kind of different stuff. If I were to rate this thing, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I am very pleased with this thing. In addition to that, I absolutely love the fact that it'll work with your larger 7-inch figures and your smaller 6-inch figures. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure and action figure diorama reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.